One of the hardest things about being this age for me is sometimes struggling with not being where I want to be financially or professionally or sometimes emotionally. And don't get me wrong, I love what I do and I wouldn't have it any other way. Starting my own business was a challenge. And as anyone who owns their own business knows, especially if you're a freelancer, there's the ups and downs. Um, of starting a new business, the inconsistencies with income, you're growing, all of it is worth it. But you do have those days where you look at your friends who deservedly so are sitting on a very comfortable mound of work, their hard work that has paid off in their life. And they're kind of putting themselves on cruise control. They're looking forward to a nice smooth sailing. And sometimes I can get wrapped up in those things on certain days where I'm feeling a little bit low. But for the most part, I have to say that I'm really proud of the work that I've done, and I wouldn't want it any other way. Sometimes we make sacrifices financially to do the things that we love. And I feel like, starting my own business at 48 years old um, was a risk, and it still is, but it's something that I am glad that I did, and I'm extremely proud of, and I'm proud of my work. And that makes a big difference because I think before I was always trying to fit in or do work that I thought that I should be doing. And when it's a mismatch, you never feel good about yourself because you're not that great at it. So leaning into what I really love, photography and marketing, personal brand strategy, has been a real gift. So I'm fortunate and I'm grateful every single day. And I think that being over 50 doesn't mean that everybody's life is the same. That is not true, as we all know. I have friends who, like I said, who are really reaping the benefits of their hard work and they're cruising like they should be. And I also have friends that are going through hard times, like everyone does in life. People's lives getting blown up because of divorce, an illness in the family. So, life has those transitions, whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, doesn't matter how old you are. Um, I think one thing that we do have in common, everybody does, that's over 50, is that we realize that the runway is getting shorter and that if there is something that we want to do, we better do it now. I think that's why I love the work that I do, is because I understand what it feels like to be on the edge of wanting to make a change and feeling like one step can either be triumphant to get you over that little jump, or you feel like you might fall in the abyss and never be seen again, or worse, sort of like splat and break every bone. But not to be dramatic, but I know what that feels like, and I also know what the process feels like to go through a personal branding process. I mean, I didn't call it that then, but I knew that I was trying to start something new and I needed to figure out who I am and who my target audience is. What do I want to offer? What's my value? And that is the personal branding process. And I know how empowering it is. And so I'm really excited for this channel. I'm excited to share how other women feel about being over 50. And I know that, and also sharing our beta clients for my Your Next Chapter in Focus um, program. I work with some women and finding your voice again, or finding those parts of yourself that you have suppressed because of whatever situation, marriage, kids. We sometimes as women, put ourselves on the back burner. And now when we get to this age, we're more focused on ourselves and it's like, wait a minute, what do I really want? Where is my voice? And then also feeling the intimidation, the vulnerability of sharing ourselves. As women, we have been under a microscope our whole entire lives. What does she look like? Being judged by our body. Is she fat? Is she thin? Is she smart? Is she beautiful? Is she nurturing? And then as we get older, we're judged for being old. So I find that the work that I do in the communities that I'm in with other women, very empowering and supportive. And I want to see more women who are over 40, over 50, over 60, 70, 80. I want to hear from them. I want to see them. We are making changes. Ageism is real. And this work that we're doing is helping. It's helping to break those cultural stereotypes of women being over 50 that are undesirable or invisible. And we have real conversations with the communities that I'm in about what it feels like to suddenly be invisible, to not get a certain position because of your age. So all of those things are real, and I think that a lot of what has helped me has been my community. My community that I work with, and my community that I engage with that supports me. My friends, they have all helped to encourage me, they have inspired me, they help me to feel determined, and we all do that for each other. Another important thing is creativity. We're all creative beings, and for me, being able to tap into what I really love to do has been like a very therapeutic and meditative process for me, because when I am in the creator mode, I can hyper focus and get lost, and I just feel in flow. And I know to my core that I'm doing something that's fulfilling and that is my purpose. And so I'm going to be going to a friend's house tonight that we collaborate a lot, and we both talk about creativity, and we know how important it is in our lives. And we'll hopefully be creating together, but just even talking about it and coming up with ideas really helps me to remember why I'm doing what I'm doing. And and as I mentioned, like the work that I do, um, I understand now how important finding your voice is. And there is a writer on my team that helps women express themselves, their core messaging that's really true to themselves. And that gives you more confidence to be able to share your work that you're doing. And, also the visibility piece. So for me as a photographer, of course, I know what that feels like. It can be a really scary thing to share yourself, but I know that when you feel more grounded in what you're doing, and you like the photos, it gives you way more confidence, and you're not as scared to share yourself. And it's just really doing it, just like me making these videos. I'm doing it. They're not perfect, but I know that I'll get better and better as time goes on. And just doing it is part of the process. And also fashion, that's another thing. Like on our team we have stylists, and I used to think that fashion was a little bit about vanity and just nothing really deep. And then I am completely wrong. I've learned the artistry behind fashion designers and also stylists, and how important what we wear, how it makes us feel, and also as a powerful way to express ourselves, our beliefs, and just feeling good about ourselves. So everything comes together once you find your way and you know who you are and what you want. It seems like all of those pieces do start to fit in. um, so the journey is worth it, like they say. And even though I have these days where I might feel a little down, or I might compare myself to others, I just remind myself, being on the journey, remembering to enjoy the journey, but remembering that I know that the work that I'm doing, it matters to me, which is way more important than the amount of money I have in my bank account, or the assets that I have, or the car that I drive, or the size of my home, or anything like that, because it's feeding my soul and it's doing work that serves others. And so I want to thank myself for making this video and reminding myself of it. But seriously, I having the community that I have and doing the work that I do, and as a reminder that it's all worth it. So I hope that you come along this journey. I want to hear from more women who are over 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, as mentioned. And I want to be able to, um, I want to give other women the encouragement who are on that precipice, who are on the edge of that next thing, that you can do it, it's worth doing it, and come along for the journey and share your journey as we help all women over 50 realize their next chapter and make it their best chapter.